Alright, my super fam, so patch 3.8 is right around the corner, basically less than a week as of the moment I upload this video. But guys, Eula is returning and I wanted to give her a little bit more of love, so today we're going to be having another video looking into some update thing regarding Eula, which is technically her new best team options. So that for you Eula mains out there, or anyone who loves Eula and gonna be using her for a bit of time, can have some new team to play around with. Now guys, talking about characters pooling, then in collaboration with Paimon's Bargain, we're going to be having a huge giveaway when patch 3.8 banners drop. So if you are new to the channel, be sure to subscribe and join my Discord server, as that's going to be a very good chance for you to grab a lot of Primogems saving for future Fontaine as well. And also guys, a free way to support me continue on my YouTube career. So with that out of the way, let's just dive into the video. Now as usual, before any teams video, I will be talking about some of the most important points you want to note on the character before you actually build a team around them. But guys, since I already have a lot of videos in the past week talking about Eula specifically herself, so I won't be going over that anymore in this specific video. But if you do want to know more, you can check out these two videos right here after watching this. But spoiler alert guys, Eula basically had no buff towards her individual performance, but for the team comp itself, it does have some new changes quite a bit, which is why we have today's video. And so here are some of the teams. Team number 1, it's gonna be Eula, Mika, Rosaria, and Kuki Shinobu. Now some of the most important addition Eula had toward her team is technically gonna be Kuki and Mika. Well, first of all, because they are 4-star characters, so it's easier for you to grab them and have them on Eula's team. Kuki is an especially important character because she does the work, especially in superconduct team for Eula really well, because her electro application is just very good. Not to mention that healing capability she provides to the team just ensures that your on-field character to stay very healthy. And then of course we have Mika, which is a character that is dedicated towards buffing physical damage for your physical character. Now if you've heard about Mika, then most of you should already have know how, you know, quote unquote reliable he is, because he's technically not that great of a character at lower constellation, and he does require a high constellation if you want to run him properly, because he's very unreliable in terms of helping your team do cryo application and sustainable healing on himself. But other than that, he has really good physical damage increase, which is basically almost the only character who does that really well at this time for physical character. And he also has attack speed increase, which is especially nice for on-field hyper carry like Eula. And then we have Rosaria, which is going to be the third cryo characters on the team, and Rosaria is going to be especially important since, as we've known, Mika himself will never be able to regenerate enough energy for Eula, who is very energy hungry and burst reliant. So Rosaria has to be there to help out with energy regen and also more cryo application for the team, since she is very good at that. Not to mention, hopefully you do have a C6 Rosaria at this point of the game, because C6 Rosaria helps your team with a lot of physical reduction, which is extremely helpful for a team like Eula. So overall, this team has really nice performance, and it is also free to play since they are all using 4-star character as support, while also these 4-star characters don't really require you to have a lot of investment. And so for the team rotation, it is pretty simple. You first start off with Kuki's EQ, to Mika's EQ, to Rosaria's EQ, and then to Eula's EQ on field normal attack. Second team, we have Eula, Diona, Raiden, and Zhongli. Now this is technically a team that I love using whenever I use my Eula, because this team just complement for each other very well. Now of course you do need, you know, 2 5-star characters who are all cons to boot, which are Raiden and Zhongli. Now Raiden is the character that I love having on Eula's team, because Raiden herself helps out this team especially well, since first of all her E skill is basically on 100% of the time to help electro application. Not to mention it helps burst damage increase for the team, and Eula, who is a burst reliant character, can benefit a lot from that. She also helps insanely well with energy regeneration. That also helps Eula Eula, and finally whenever Eula is on downtime, you can actually switch to Raiden to do her burst, helping out damage for the team and also help regening energy for the whole team as well. So Raiden just fits and supports the team really well. Then we have Diona, obviously gonna be for cryo resonance and help out with energy regeneration, but especially Diona can be on the elegy, which is technically the best bow support weapon in the game, or if you're still lacking with energy regen, you can go ahead and give her the sack bow, and that will do really well for the team. Not to mention Diona heals you really well, including providing your team with shielding, so that is really good. And finally Zhongli to help out with a lot more shielding, so toughen up Eula a lot to ensure she never gets disrupted whenever she's using her normal attack and getting hit. But not only that, he has a lot of buffing towards your team with resistance decrease and as well as tenacity to help your team attack increase, which is a really nice thing for the team. But of course, if you are saving Zhongli for other team or you don't have Zhongli specifically on your account, then you can always just substitute him for any of the electro character like, you know, Kuki Shinobu, Fischl, and they will be very good. For the rotation, you first start off with Raiden's E to Zhongli's EQ to Diona's EQ to Eula's EQ normal attack, and then after she hit her burst, you switch to Raiden for her EQ. Third team, we have Eula, Mika, Jin, and Yunjin. Now this is kind of like an interesting team for you to play around with because it does mess around with your attack speed. You do need to have a bit of investment towards this team, however, because Jin does require you to have a C2 and Yunjin do want you to have a C6 so that they have access to attack speed increase capability. And then together with Mika, if you have already leveled up his talent to almost max, then I believe that you should have at least around 20% attack speed increase on him, Jin with a 15% and Yunjin with a 12%, and you're technically having around a 48% attack speed increase. Now guys, if you're even more invested into Eula and you get her broken pines, that claymore also gives you attack speed boost, and adding everything together, you're seeing around a 60% attack speed increase, which is really high, and you'll be seeing Eula claymore doing very fast attack damage, which is really fun to look at. Plus the more normal attack she's able to do, it does help you with stacking up her burst, therefore doing more burst number as well. Now Yunjin is going to be here to help you buff normal attack damage, which is really nice since we are focused on normal attack, and Mika of course buffing physical damage, and Jin here to help you out with healing and a bit of swirling here and there. Now for this team, you also need to keep manage of your energy regen as well, so Jin and Yunjin is recommended to be using the Favonius weapon to ensure that Eula always have her burst as much as possible. Next, we have Eula, Liza, Rosaria, and Mika. This is quite an interesting team because everyone on the team is going to be helping you focus on physical resistance decrease, and Liza is a very good character for that. First of all, her burst just applies a lot of electro application, not to mention she has her passive talent of decreasing 15% defense decrease, and still at this point in time only a few characters in the game have access to this ability, especially at C0 guys, which is why we are seeing Liza here on the team. Rosaria and Mika are in their usual spots. Now of course you do want to have Rosaria on her C6 so that she does help you with defense decrease, and then also we are technically relying on Mika to do most of the healing on this team, but if you are able to iframe dodge easily, he should be able to heal your Eula enough. And then finally, now I actually saved the most interesting team for last, and this team will be featuring Eula, Nahida, Yelan, and Kuki Shinobu. Now I'm going to be guessing that you did not see this team coming because I myself did not see this as well, because this team was recommended by a very good friend of mine, and this was actually the team that helped him clear this specific abyss of patch 3.7, 3.8. Now considering that you guys know how tough this abyss was, you would kinda have an idea how powerful this team can be. And so this is a team that we're going to be technically focused on doing hyper bloom damage, with Eula being the driver on field and doing her normal attack of her own. So it's kind of like a flexible team, you know, because Nahida, Yelan, and Kuki have already been able to do enough Hyper Bloom damage. So technically speaking, the final spot is gonna be a flex spot, and Eula herself can be there because she can be the driver, plus she is a physical character, so she technically doesn't really mess up anything of the reaction in Hyper Bloom, so she is a decent fit here on the team. In terms of team building, you first off do want to invest as much EM onto Kuki Shinobu as possible because she's going to be the character that triggers Hyper Bloom, so that is going to be very valuable. However, a very much more important thing is that since Eula is the only cryo character on this team, you do want to manage a bit of energy regen onto her so that she can have her burst more often. We can't though ensure that she's going to be having her burst every rotation, but if you do kind of like have Yelan use the Favonius bow, then that can happen depending on how much your Eula currently energy recharge level is. And then of course Nahida, you do want to invest into as much EM as possible because she's the character that does provide your team more EM. This team is of course going to be a bit of an investment because you do want to have Nahida and Yelan as a 5-star character on the team, but of course if you don't have this 2 character, then you can switch out, you know, having Xingqiu and our Dendro main traveler and it still do decently well. Though of course if you have Nahida and Yelan, your team performance is still going to be a lot better. Team rotation is rather simple. You first start off with Nahida's EQ, to Yelan's EQ, to Kuki Shinobu's EQ, and then to Eula being the driver on field casting her burst. Now I know that Eula herself didn't really have too much of an improvement on her own because sadly Hoyoverse is technically never going to be buffing physical damage, though I always have my hope that physical character will still have a spot here and there in the future. But either way, since it's already nearly patch 4.0, Eula herself do have a couple of new teammates that does help her to build new teams, so that in of itself does give you kind of like a refreshing thing whenever you're using Eula. So all of the 5 team I have discussed above, hopefully it does bring you new idea in terms of Eula team builds, and I hope that was a fun video for you. Now guys, if you're planning to pull for patch 3.8 and you're still on the fence of which character to pull, then I have a very in-depth video going through that and you can check it out right here. Again, if you are new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe as there will be a huge giveaway and it will be a very good chance for you to grab a lot of Primogems to help you out with your account. As always, I really appreciate you guys sticking with me till this part of the video, and with that I wish you a super day and I will catch you on my next video.